Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to a new edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Cota, and today's special guest, we got a North Carolina State Wolfpack in the house. This guy right here is considered the head cracker. He comes in and he lays them out. This guy had over 129 tackles in one season in 1986, had recorded 29 tackles in one game against UNC. Also had 26 tackles against Virginia Tech in the bowl game. This guy is from Raleigh, North Carolina. Y'all give it up for my guest, Mr. Pat Teague. What's going on, Pat?
Man, I appreciate you letting me come on the show, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, Pat. For the people that don't know you, let them know where you're from and a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. I ended up coming back here and living here. Got a wonderful wife God's blessed me with. Her name is Sheila, and I got 3 great kids. One is now married to a young man named David, and we have my first grandbaby. Her name is Little Rose. She's my little girlfriend, and just excited about, just the phases of life here. So it's good.
That's great. That's great. So you started off young playing football or sports. What was your favorite sport growing up, and what was the first sport you played?
Well, growing up, man, I love football because my oldest brother played. He was a big all-star high school player, and and then he got recruited and played at Wake Forest University, and I got invited to go into the locker room, and he let me put on that gold helmet just for a minute, and man, I was golden. I was hooked, and so I went home and collected uniform stuff, and I'd get some old shoulder pads and baggy pants, and get a jersey and get an old helmet and just run around in the yard. And then my other brother, he's a little older, he'd say, all right, we're going to play some tackle football. And we had one neighbor that wanted to play. And he said, because I'm older, I get the first pick. So it'd be him and me against them two. And that got roughing me up. And then when I was little, they used to throw me around like a little football. And so football just kind of was the first love. And as I got older, I then got into basketball and started playing baseball, of course, and then ran track and, got all that. But football was the first love. So,
okay, cool.
Good.
For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe and hit that follow and like button. We are with a special guest, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer linebacker, Mr. Pat Teague. Pat, so you grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Describe Raleigh, North Carolina for the people that's not familiar with that area.
You're right in the middle of the state of North Carolina, and it's always in the top 5 cities to live in. It's just a beautiful place. 2 hours from the beach, 3 hours from the mountains. So it's just a great place to live and raise a family. So we've been enjoying living here for pretty. Then my dad moved here. We moved here because my dad built power plants, and so the Sharon Harris power plant, when that was built back way early in the 60s, and so we moved here, and I keep coming back. So I've enjoyed living here, pretty much. I mean, except for the run down to Tampa and a little bit in Cleveland. I was with the Browns for a little while, but I think everybody's career ends at the Browns. But but anyway, but pretty much lived here all my life, so it's been great.
Okay, we got some former teammates tuning in tonight. Got Christopher Quarters on. He said, that's my guy, Pat Teague.
Great man.
Yeah.
So,
Christopher said, dude was one of the absolute most intelligent, hardest working, and menacing strikers I've seen on linebacker Wolfpack Nation.
Well, I need to take him out to lunch for that compliment, man. I appreciate that, Chris.
All right. Appreciate you tuning in, Chris. So you go in, you play football, you played baseball, basketball. I know you were a 3-sport athlete all the way up until high school. Talk about the positions that you played in football when you first started.
I started off on the offensive line,
Okay.
So I had 3 older brothers that toughened me up a lot. So it was great to get in the league and, with the little league. And so I started at offensive guard, and then I started doing offensive center. Then of course, then I played linebacker on defense. I just loved to run around and hit people because it was my turn. I've been hitting on my 3 older brothers. Now I got to hit on somebody. And so that was a lot of fun. That's where I started. And played for a little team. We just did that little league, and we first year we lost every game, but the coach said, just stick with us, stick with my team, and we'll end up going to the Super Bowl. Sure enough, I stayed with them for 3 years, and so when I'm about to age out, we did go to the Super Bowl and lost 6-0. But it all started for me, and then I got to play a lot of other positions just wherever the coach needed me. Really, I just played wherever they wanted me. So they tried me at quarterback, and nobody told me how to throw the football. So he's like, threw it one time. He goes, "All right, you're gonna go back to running back, or okay, we'll go put you somewhere. You can't play quarterback." So it's just kind of funny. I played at just about every position but quarterback. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So talk about who was your favorite player when you were growing up in the 70s. I knew you watch a lot of football, basketball. Who was the person that kind of inspired you just love watching in the NFL or college?
Well, first college was my brother, playing
Yep.
at bars, man. That was great. My oldest brother, my hero, going out and playing the game. And then some old school linebackers like Willie Lanier, Dick Butkus, Tommy Novus, that was way back.
Yep.
I love the Minnesota Vikings, the Purple People Eaters. And so that started. And then, so those are the kind of guys I liked along the way. And then it was Brian Urlacher, Lawrence Taylor, we played game, Michael Singletary. So I looked up a lot of linebackers. I looked and watched their play and how they played the game and ran sideline to sideline. I love Michael Singletary's eyes, just big as they could be, just looking at the quarterback all the time. So I loved his aggressiveness and great leadership and discipline on and off the field. So I admired him a lot too.
Okay, cool. So growing up in North Carolina, I know in the summer times, it's tobacco fields and things of that nature. What type of activity did you participate in the summer when it was school was out and you wasn't playing sports?
Well, Raleigh was small, and I used to love to get on my bike and go up to the pool and swim. And I swam on the swim team, so I love swimming. So that was great. And then as I got older, still Raleigh was small enough you get on your bike, and we go around and do pickup basketball, play pickup basketball all over the city. It's like, where's the latest and greatest blacktop with its goals, and we go and play. And so then you start getting used to everybody's game a little bit, and then we started playing. In high school, these summer leagues and little sweat box on Method Road, we play over there. It was great. It was over there by State, and it was kind of midtown, so everybody could get to it. And it was just one of those hot boxes, not air conditioned, about 100 degrees, and so much fun to play in those leagues. And always played against Nate McMillan, who went on to be a great NBA star and now a coach. Just had a great rapport with him. He ends up coming to State and grew 6 inches because we were about the same height. I'm about 6'2", and so we always had a great, rivalry, a great friendly rivalry, playing against each other, with each other, and so he comes to State, and I'm like, man, what happened? You ate some fertilizer, man. He's 6'6" now, 6'7", 6'6", and it's like, man, he said, I got you now. I was like, yeah, you got me. Yep. So that was a lot of fun growing up that way. So it was good.
Okay. So you pick up the basketball on the black court in the summertime. Did you start playing organized right after that?
Yeah, pretty much. There was really not good football camps back in the day. In fact, they were hitting too much without any pads or helmets or anything. It just wasn't that great. But basketball camps, here in Raleigh were excellent. We had Coach McLean and St. Augustine's head coach at the time too. Both of them would team up, and we'd have wonderful basketball camps. And so it was some good stuff, and got invited to some really good. I got to go to the Pocono Mountains All-Star in the summer between my 8th and 9th grade year. It was one of those God encounters that I'm thankful for. John Wooden was there, legendary UCLA coach, 10 national championships. And he said something there that was just revolutionary and just really impacted me as a young man. He said, I've been around a lot of great players and good players. He said, the great ones love to do what the good ones hate to do. And man, I mean, I wrote it down. Everybody's writing it down. The coaches, the players, you had somewhere to write that, a little booklet. And I remember that just really just latched onto my heart, and realized that was that first lesson God was giving me about discipline, that I must, because discipline's all about choosing, at times doing what you don't want to do. And it's like, I love ice cream. I got to say no to ice cream a lot. I mean, if I ate it all the time, I'd be, 500 pounds. But, so, you choose your pains, basically. And so that statement made such a huge impact on me. It was secret between, good and great was I learned to find out what was tough. He talked about academics. He talked about, what your training, what do you hate about it? And I still remember my list. Number one was homework. I hated homework. Next, I hated wind sprints, squat, and suicides, and jump rope. And then what you usually hate is the very thing that you need to work on, because you love to do what you love to do, and your strengths are your strengths. But now if you lessen your weakness and learn how to make that a love-hate relationship with it, sure enough, man, that made a huge difference. And
you had a love for the jump box as well. I hated the jump box.
Yeah. Add that to the list, man.
Yeah. So Todd Maso, he's a big diehard Bucs fan. He's from Clearwater, Florida. Appreciate you tuning in, Todd. Make sure you share and like. He says Bucs for life. All right.
Yeah, man.
Got a couple fans chiming in. Those Bucs fans come alive when they get to the playoffs, I swear.
I was thrilled to see Brady come down and win some Super Bowls, so that was cool.
Yeah. So you put down the basketball, and I know you probably tried baseball or track. Which one was it?
Yeah, I did some baseball, and then track. I just loved everything about the jump, I love broad jump. I was a sprinter, so I sprinted, and then I threw the shot put and discus. So I loved that. Wow. So that was big, and so I was doing all that through middle school and high school. My mom didn't want to introduce soccer to us. She was afraid we'd pick up soccer. So I just stuck with football, basketball, baseball, and track. So we did all that. But there was some major things happening those years that really made a big difference for me too. I mean, one of them was, just when I started to excel, you get respected by different people, and they started inviting you to things. And I was, going to parties and stuff. And I was sitting at one time and just realized this was not the direction I wanted to go. And a major thing that, I share with young people is decisions you make today can determine your destiny tomorrow. And when I was sitting there, I was like, this isn't my goal. So I want to play in the Super Bowl, and they're over here going for it in the Porcelain Bowl. I didn't want to do that. And the girlfriends were mad at him. I don't like girls being mad at me. So, here I am, summer of my 8th and 9th grade year. I'm like, man, I got to get out of here. So I just left, went home, and I was praying. I was like, God, what do I do? What do I do? And that made a major decision at that time. I was like, he said, trust me with everything. I just opened the Bible and just, flipped it open and saw Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Said, don't trust yourself, but trust me with everything. And so I'm like, all right, I'll make you my head coach. And that was a huge decision to help me choose the right crowd. And so right now, if you're a young man, a young woman, choose the right crowd, because if they're not in line with your goals. So I did lose something that night. I sacrificed heartache. I ended up not, getting addictions, all those things at that age, that things easily can get a hold of you. And so that was a huge decision. Not only did I go to that summer camp, that made a huge impact. That was the next big impact it made on me was, okay, I need to choose. Part of that was choosing the pain of might not being accepted by every single person, but man, being accepted by Jesus Christ was the biggest thing. And then after that, getting on God's team. Now I found out a lot of people were trying to find him at the same time. So a lot of my buddies were all like, said, hey, let's go this direction. And they all became my teammates and running mates. And man, we made a good run. And so it was good. So,
all right. So Christopher Quarters had a question. He said, "Ask Pat how competitive the pickup basketball games were like on campus."
Oh, Chris had a good memory right there. Man, we had a certain section of the gym we play, football guys would play against each other, but then the basketball team would come up. And so we would
Okay.
play with all those guys. Now,
Oh,
back in that day, that's when we had the Jim Valvano run, survive and advance. So
okay.
all the guys we were playing pickup basketball with Chucky Brown, Lorenzo Charles, Derek Whitberg, Sidney Lowe, all those guys. Well, it was a great time.
Yeah,
And we had it, man. I mean, ESPN should have been broadcasting it
I
because
know.
we were getting after it, getting so
Yep.
just all into it. So Chris is
Yeah.
right. No, those are some good memories right there.
I'm forgetting that Jimmy V was coaching then, and you guys had just won the national championship on that last bucket during that time.
Yeah, oh, man, like Chucky Brown and Lorenzo Charles, usually I had to guard those guys. And so
Oh,
it's like, hey, what's it like to hit somebody? And I'm like, what's it like to, make the winning dunk for national championship? And Lowe would always say, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. He just kind of play it real low, down low, like kind of just kind
yeah.
of big old smile on his face. And so it was a lot of fun playing up there. I know we had some great times doing that.
Yep. So talk about high school. You go to high school your freshman year. Did you play varsity right away in all three sports, or did you have to play JV?
Yeah, I played varsity football, and then I started off the season in basketball and JV, and then when we went to playoffs, they moved me up to the high school team, just for a backup. And so yeah, started off playing varsity with football, and that was a great thrill, and just carried on there and just started to learn those disciplines. Start
Okay.
practicing the ones that I needed to practice in school. And I had a really good encounter in as a sophomore. Me and my buddies were messing around in the weight room, and one of the coaches came over to me and said, "Hey, do you want to play college football?" And I said, "Yes, sir. Yes, I do." And then he got just this little fire in his eye. He goes, "Well, then start acting like one. You can't be fooling around in here." And he said, "What does a college athlete do when he gets in a weight room?" And I was like, "He works hard." He goes, "What does he do in the classroom?" "Well, I guess he works hard." He goes, "Well, you better start doing it." And so it was like a switch came on. It's like I just kind of turned and looked around, looked at my buddy, and said, "Hey, we got to get down to business." And
Okay.
so that just kind of kicked in another gear. Another one of those God moments, where somebody that's speaking into your life. And so that's another thing I would say to someone that's kind of going through: be coachable, listen to those that have went before you. Because, he even said, he goes, "I didn't take it serious at your age, and I ended up not playing it, the next level the way I wanted to." So it kind of hit me, kind of sobered me up, basically, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of woke me up and rattled my cage a little bit. So,
Okay.
so that was good.
All right. So Stacy Betts says, "Pat is the man. Love that dude."
Man, I love you too, Stacy. Man, I don't care what anybody says about you. Now, Stacy
Yeah.
Bett, yeah, he's got a state championship under his belt. Played at Garner High School,
Okay. All
so
right.
went on to play baseball at state. In fact, I need to hook you with him. You need to interview.
Okay.
You love an interview with Stacy. So
Okay.
that's
Cool.
a little plug, man.
All
I'll
right.
with him.
All right. You hear that, Stacy? So when I call, pick up. Christopher Quarter said, "How was high school football in that area? Who were some of the best players in Wake Country during those days?"
Yeah, Wake County during those days.
Wake County. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We had some good players, but it was very competitive. It was good. There's a Warren Beatty that played at Inlow High School. He's another D1 linebacker. He was excellent. We had some Clem High at Millbrook High School. Great linebacker. Then there was one of the greatest athletes I ever played against was at Broughton High School named Dwayne Green. And
Okay.
Chris knows Dwayne. He came to state. They didn't know what to do with him because he could play quarterback, he could play wide receiver, he could play strong safety, free safety. So I think Dwayne was one of the best athletes I ever played against. There was another guy named Rusty Disney, big
Oh,
dude. I don't remember who he is. He was their nose tackle, and he went on to play at University of Tennessee. But yeah, it was some good times. So Dwayne Green, getting to play with him, not against him in college. So
I understand. Uh-oh. Terry Teague said, I'm the bro that made him tough. Love that rock.
right, that's my brother, man. Now my brother he's an amazing basketball player. He had a pure jumper, man, and he was great. He was definitely iron sharpens iron. I really cherish that friendship and brotherhood I have with him. Still to this day, we just love to be together. But yeah, he'd wear me out in the backyard, man. He'd wear me out, and
he said you was the Tim Tebow before Tebow. Always gave God the glory. So you was the Tim Tebow before Tim Tebow. You always gave God the glory.
Yes, sir. Yes, I
Yeah.
very. I just know where it came from. It came from God, and just getting to play it out. So it was a thrill to honor him and show my gratitude to my effort and playing the game that he blessed me with. So.
All right. So talking about high school again, did you play both ways in high school? Did you play offense and defense?
I did, man. I couldn't ask for a better golden years, man. I mean, those years were ideal for any. If someone loves the game of football, I got to experience it. There was first middle school. I played on a team. We were undefeated. It was only 16 of us, and we're all walks of life. It didn't matter what everybody was like, hey, do you have my back? And we went undefeated, and nobody scored on us all year to the last quarter of the last minute of the last game.
Wow.
So that was great. And then I got to play everything I ever wanted to play. I got to play. First, I started off as a guard, but then because I was one of the faster guys on the team, our tailback decided to go to a different high school. So coach said, hey, you want to play tailback? I'm like, that's a lineman's dream. Yeah. So I ended up playing tailback, linebacker, and I kicked and punted in high school. So I stayed on the field all night long, man. I was the bullet in the kickoff. I just run down, just hitting anything I could see, and just enjoyed it, man. That was a thrill. My senior year, that was a good time.
So. Terry said Pat was Rocky before Rocky.
He's also my promotional agent.
I see that. That's a lot of love. We appreciate you tuning in, Terry. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We got plenty of other Wolfpack players that came on, along with your brother, the leading tackler in North Carolina State history. So let's talk about the competition in Raleigh in high school. What were some of the teams or schools that really give you guys a hard time?
Broughton High School in Millbrook. Broughton had Dwayne Green, and then Millbrook High. So I mean, it was always just a fight to the end. Both of those were huge rivals, and we would hardly score on each other. We just banged on each other all night long, and just a counter punch here and there. So those were the two big teams that were just some classic games where we just come down to the last minute to win it. And then Garner High School was great too. Give a little credit to Stacey Betts, the team there. They had a great coach there. Okay. So that was always a big game, but they usually got our number, unfortunately. But they were a big team too. So
So did you guys make it to the playoffs in your division?
Yes, we did make it to the playoffs, but we didn't get very far. We seemed to just kind of we weren't deep enough. The other teams had a little bit more depth to them, and so we kind of lose in the first round usually. So that was an unfortunate run for us, but
okay. So playing high school basketball, what position did you play?
It's funny. I played big forward, and I always do the tip. So I like to get up there and play with big
shots, rebound.
Yeah, I was a 6'2" big forward.
Okay, that's what's up. So, did you get any All-Star invitations or anything like that? Any bowl games in high school, All-American or All North-South game or Shrine Bowl?
My senior year I was invited to the East-West game, but I had an injury at the end of the season that it wasn't wise for me to play. But I did receive some All-American honors, and all conference, all East, all state. And I did that both in basketball and football. So that was a real honor to represent and glorify God in that way. He just, blessed my career in that regard. So I give him all the glory,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So in your recruiting process, what schools were interested in you at that time?
A lot of ACC schools. So that was exciting. I love the ACC. Did have the University of Tennessee looking at me as well. But NC State, Carolina, Duke, Wake Forest, and so those are the big four that were really looking, or I was looking at too. I mean, there was other schools like East Carolina, Appalachian State, and so, but mainly I kind of narrowed it pretty quickly to NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, and Carolina. So those are top four that I was looking to be.
What made you go to North Carolina State? You just wanted to stay at home, or?
That was where since I made Jesus my head coach, I did a lot of praying about it, and I sought a lot of good counsel, and to see which was best, and it just kept pointing to State. Every time I'd look around, I'm like, I wanted to move away from home, but it just kept coming back to go play at State, and so ends up that my father dies my redshirt freshman year, my sophomore year.
Man.
And then it really hit home. Wow, that's why God wanted me to stay near home, because I had a younger sister and my mom, and she leaned pretty heavily on me. And so that was, I realized right away, I had 3 different head coaches. I had a different defensive system every year, but I knew that's where God wanted me, just to support my mom and my sister. So that ended up just keeping me, he's a great rock to stand on, and really stood on Isaiah 26:3 that he would, keep my mind set and steadfast as long as I stand on the rock. In Psalm 62 also that he would help me not be greatly shaken, but I could pour out my heart before him and stay strong as my head coach. Just keep calling the plays, and made a huge difference for me to be able to look through. And one of the great lessons I learned in college, one of many, was surround myself with people that are fountains, not drains. And where I found that community was with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And then we started me and another teammate started a team Bible study, and so that we could continue to have that fountain. And what I like to call it, these days, is Grace-A-Raid. Gatorade keeps you from cramping up, but Grace-A-Raid, that's a whole nother power, brother. That thing just was what we drank deeply from, and just that relationship, that journey with him, and which is not being religious. It's about the relationship. And so in that relationship, it just really meant a lot. So when my father did die, it made a lot of sense why he was leading me and directing me to play at NC State. Along with it's a great school, and we had a lot of good runs there. So.
Okay, cool. So you get on campus your freshman year. Did you redshirt, or do you play straight away?
That was a hard year. And they didn't prepare me that my name was going to change. All right, I came in as an All-American, all this and all that. And then all of a sudden, my name changed to, hey, you, come here. I want you to hold the dummy. Hey, you, come here. Hey, get down. Hey, so that was really hard on my just whole makeup and value, and realized that my value wasn't in that I was a football player. I needed to have a value that I was on God's team, a son of God, and he had adopted me, healed me, delivered me, and all those great things, forgiven me, all that needed to be he'd be my main audience. And that really ended up helping me get my character grow, when nobody's watching, just still playing my hardest as a redshirt freshman, that, helped prepare my teammates for the game on Saturday, even though I didn't get to play, really helped me grow up a lot. Soon they started calling me by my name, but nobody told me that when I came in. So I always share with the upcoming, any guys that are being recruited heavily right now, and you're the best thing since sliced bread. Just remember, freshman year, your name's going to be Hey You or something worse. So just remember that, So don't put your value that you're a football player. You need to put your value that you need to know who you are, and before you go out there, so you don't let them affect you. And so end up having a really cool moment where I went to bed one night after my mom was giving me a pep talk and just saying, play like it's a Super Bowl every day, because God notices. And that little dream that night of making a big play, and Reds, as a scout team linebacker, and everybody's yelling at the lineman, and I'm over there not getting any accolades, but I just saw God up in the stands pointing at me with two fingers, going, "I saw you, I saw you." Well, it's cool. My bro Terry, who's listening right now, I had a really neat God moment with him. When I was having that great game against UNC, and we're about to win the game. When I came to sidelines to get some water, Terry did that very gesture, pointed at me with two fingers, and it was like, oh man. So it flashed me back to that moment, and where my brother said, "I saw you, I saw you." So that was really cool. Having vision. That's important. You have vision. If you can't see it, you can't be it. That's a big thing we say at Sports Mission Outreach. If you can't see it, you can't be it. So begin to visualize the kind of man you want to be, visualize what you want to be, where you want to go, and that helps you as you go. When things are tough and hard, or an injury setback, or whatever you got going on, is you got to still keep your vision. So.
All right. So Chris Corder says, what was it like playing for three distinctively different head coaches, and Monte Kiffin, Tom Reed, and Dick Sheridan and their staffs?
Chris, man, that is a great question, man. It was wild. It went from Kiffin was just entertainer, man. He was just all over the place. And then Tom Reed was very disciplined, almost military-like. But I loved that Kiffin brought a lot of joy to the game. And then Coach Reed brought discipline that was very critical for me to graduate from college. We were probably the biggest team in the ACC too. We just had great discipline, structured workouts and everything, and study halls. And he even helped me get tutors I ended up getting a degree in civil engineering. I would have never done it under Kiffin, because he was just all over the map. No boundaries. No, we were just flying by the seat of our pants all the time. And then Kiffin came in very structured. And then Dick Sheridan was an amazing, he put it all together. He brought the love of the game. He motivated you with love. And, he coached you like you wanted to coach his sons. And so we worked hard. I mean, Chris can testify to that. But it made every college football experience what it was supposed to be. And we went on to go to the Peach Bowl and, almost win the ACC title. We lost it in Virginia, but it was just great to put that together. And Chris, man, also I had a different defensive system every year. So I went through 5 different defensive systems. It was crazy.
So Chris said Pat endured a lot of coaching changes, could have easily left or given up, stayed the course through it all, and excelled. Man, and then your brother came back in. He says, love that. I remember that UNC moment. He pointed at you.
I got a picture of it. Somebody took a picture right behind my brother. That was cool.
That's cool. Good. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into some highlights real quick. This game is versus the University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. They had Todd Ellis and Sterling Sharp at that time, and you guys played at home. And we're going to watch this clip. And for everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe, like, share. We are located on Spotify, Deezer, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. All right. We have former Tampa Bay Buccaneer linebacker and former North Carolina State tackle record holder, Mr. Pat Teague. All right. Let's go ahead and get into that video. We do not own the rights to the video or the music in the clip. Pat, just stay with us after this clip, and we'll be right back to ask some more questions and answer some more live chats, okay?
Our defense holds and forces 3 straight incomplete passes, and on 4th down and 10 from the 28-yard line, Hagler kicks a 45-yard field goal that closes the gap to 17-6. We're unable to move the ball on our next possession, and again, Carolina moves the ball downfield as Green goes 38 yards up the middle, and then on another draw play, Green gets another 18 yards as they start to move the ball on the ground against us. And then they get their touchdown as Ellis passes complete to Sharp for an 8-yard touchdown. With the score 17-13, we are still not able to move the football, and we continue to put pressure on our defense. Our defense continues to play well, however, and forces a field goal attempt as they drive down into scoring position on a complete pass from Ellis to Smith. And then Ellis passes complete again to Bethea for a big play in 34 yards. And then on the 4-yard line with 3rd down and goal to go, a big play. Ellis passes incomplete to Sharp, whereas Nelson Jones tips the ball away, almost intercepts. We force a field goal attempt, and Hagler again converts a 21-yard field goal that makes the score 17-16. We set up South Carolina's next touchdown as we throw an interception. They move down into scoring range, and then Ellis sneaks over from 1 yard out to give South Carolina the lead. A big tackle by Pat Teague. Pat tackles Jones after a complete pass to Ellis on the 2-point conversion, and the score is University of South Carolina 22, North Carolina State 17. We have a big defensive series, although they pick up a 1st down as Ellis passes complete to Bethea for 23 yards on a 3rd and 12 situation. We then again hold and use the clock and are able to force a punt. On the punt, which goes only 16 yards and out of bounds on the 40-yard line, we have an opportunity to win the ball game with 33 seconds left on the clock. On the next to the last play of the ball game, South Carolina gets a penalty for being offsides, which gives us one more opportunity to win the ball game. And from the 37-yard line, Eric Kramer passes complete to Danny Peoples on a desperation Hail Mary pass. An unbelievable catch and an excellent job by our offensive line giving Eric time to complete the pass. And you can see the bedlam that breaks loose. A very unexpected and very fortunate turn of events for the Wolfpack.
Well, Coach, you said coming in that the run-and-shoot offense would create a lot of problems offensively, but I thought your defense kind of rose to the occasion.
Well, I think it ranks with our effort against Clemson. We played a very fine offensive team today, and we had a lot of people that played well. Of course, Pat Teague had another good game. Ray Agnew had a lot of big plays in the ball game, putting pressure on Ellis. Fred Stone came up with a big interception.
All right, we're back. Mr. T, what do you remember about that game the most?
Oh, goodness, man. It was crazy game. It came down to just one last throw, Hail Mary, into the end zone. And, man, I was down on my knee with a bunch of other players praying. And all of a sudden we looked up. We couldn't see the catch because everybody was going nuts all around. And Danny Peoples caught it, and Danny said it stuck into his face mask. And there was like 4 guys jumping in front of him. So he couldn't really see. All of a sudden, when they jumped by, there was the ball. It stuck right in his face mask. You saw him running off, number 8, just running all over the place. The man ran a 1440. He was an All-American track star. His first 8 catches were for touchdowns because nobody could catch him. And so sure enough, that was one of them. So
8 catches and 8 touchdowns. First time playing.
For touchdowns. And what a great team moment. Nobody gave up. Everybody was believing. And we just could not lose to South Carolina that year. That was just not going to happen. And so we were, just believed all the way to the end. So,
all right.
Great.
So Big Bro said we had a praying mama. Happy brought her Bible to every game. Clemson, low pallet count, a miracle. And then Chris Corder says Ellis and Sharp were dudes, but they remember number 50 in red and white.
Yeah, I had a few encounters, had a few good hits on them, so that was cool.
All right, cool.
But Terry was bringing up had a really, the year before that I had a scary moment where had allergic reaction to quinine sulfate and my blood platelets dropped from the normal 400,000 down to 10,000, and he recognized how I was white as a sheet after the Clemson game. We played it in Death Valley, and so there was a good chance I would never play football again. And then God healed me, and there I was playing my senior year, best year of my career. And so
was that your biggest obstacle since you played football?
That was a big one. Yes, sir. Yeah, that was huge. And I had to literally did 2-a-days all summer to get my strength back, and just prayed and trust God that it was coming back, and it did. And it was just it was a miracle. And so just thrilled that it came, it all happened. So, and
All right.
get to play that year and do all those fun things with Coach Sheridan.
So I couldn't end the North Carolina highlights without you guys playing a rival, UNC, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got those.
Yeah. So we got a short clip with you guys playing against UNC. This is the game that you had 29 tackles. We'll go back and watch this real quick.
Okay.
We do not own the rights to the clip or the music. We have former North Carolina State linebacker and Tampa Bay Buccaneer linebacker Pat Teague. For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe on the YouTube, like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Deezer. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into this clip real quick, and we'll be right back, Pack. Okay.
All right.
Carries.
All right, that was a big celebration right there. In-state rivalry. I guess that was the last game of the season. More than likely. Did you guys end up playing Virginia Tech after that, right? In the bowl game?
Well, believe it or not, we played Carolina, Clemson, and South Carolina, all those games right together. So those three were all together. ESPN, we played national TV against Clemson and beat them 27-3. So we had those three right back to back, and it's three thrillers. So and then we had I think let's see what I can't remember if we played any more. Yeah, I can't remember if that was the last, but that was huge. That was amazing. So
all right. So 86 was your senior year. You played all 4 years. So let's talk about getting ready for the NFL draft. Did you have a pro day or did you go to the combine?
I wasn't invited to the combine. There was a lot of great linebackers that year, and unfortunately, wasn't invited. But I had Haywood Jeffries. He was going to be a top round draft pick. So we had a team come and so we ended up running for everybody, which was a great for us. And that was one of the other great lessons through college football was, just learning that to take advantage of your situations and just work hard. Goes back when I was a freshman. I was wondering if I'd ever play for NC State. Got on my knees and was praying, man, Proverbs 12:1 he gave me was, he who loves discipline loves instruction, but he who hates reproof is stupid. And in the same chapter, 27, goes on to say that, said the precious possession of a man is diligence, but the lazy man will never roast his prey. So those came in the really big time, came into this because I was sitting there trying to graduate, but I wanted to try it out for all these teams. But because, just said, look, if you can just work hard at your craft, artwork. I mean, just bring hard work plus smart work equals artwork. But now it's time to celebrate work. Now go out there and just do your best, play your best. And so those moments came up and got to run for all these teams and came down to several teams were looking at me to play for them. At the time was Houston Oilers, Redskins, Cowboys, and Tampa Bay. And so ended up washing my car about 20 times that day on draft, the days of draft joy. And my agent finally called me and said, hey, Tampa wants you to come down and try out. And so we got in this, draft day gets crazy. And there was a lot of drama, and I was supposed to be drafted, and I didn't get drafted. So I had to kind of stay focused over that. So I go down there and get offered after intercepting a Vinny Testaverde pass for a touchdown. Ran it back. So they said, hey, he's our first rounder. I guess if you can, we'll give you a shot, So I ended up trying out for them. Then going out to the Oilers, go to Houston, tried out for them as well. And then just finished with, going to Tampa and, the situation he can be the best one to go to. And just enjoyed playing there and the situation there. So it was
all
good.
Right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into this Bucs highlight. You guys played the Falcons that year. I think Steve DeBerg was quarterback. Vinny Testaverde was backing him up at that time. I guess he was a rookie that year, coming from the University of Miami. For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Deezer, and Facebook. We have former Tampa Bay Buccaneer linebacker Pat Teague. We appreciate you guys for watching. We're going to go ahead and get in this clip. I do not own the rights to the video or the music in it, okay? Let's go ahead and get into it. Stay with us, Pat. This is the last video, okay?
At home against Atlanta, Perkins was 2-0 in his moves. Ray Perkins said, Steve DeBerg, number 17, you're my starter. Meanwhile, on the sidelines, the $8 million man, Vinny, will have to wait his turn. DeBerg got the Bucs moving on their first possession. Third down, look into the end zone. Joel Williams, linebacker of the Falcons, grabs Jeff Smith's jersey. Pass interference, Buccaneer first down. Then on another third down play, DeBerg to Bill Freeman, 11 yards touchdown, 91-yard drive, 7-0 Tampa Bay. The defense inspired by the offense's play. David Archer to Aubrey Matthews. He is nailed by Rick Wood, stopped shy of the first down. DeBerg's later in the first quarter has the Bucs moving from the 10. DeBerg looking for Mark Carrier. This is called a nice defensive play, it looked like, but the referee says pass interference in Scott Case. He can't believe it, and it would cost the Falcons. Third and goal from the 5. DeBerg to Gerald Carter. Touchdown, beating Rady. 14-0 Bucs. Ray Perkins said, this is great. Marion Campbell in his first start in stint 2 in Atlanta says, what is going on? Second quarter, David Archer under pressure, as he would be all day long. Rick Woods comes down with the deflected ball. He could go all the way. Woods smells the end zone, but he is knocked out at the 2-yard line, a 42-yard return, but just 2 plays later. Gerald Carter, number 87. You saw him in motion, the bottom of your screen. Now he makes the cut, and the pass from DeBerg, touchdown at 27-3. Owner Hugh Culverhouse says, this is the greatest. Tampa Bay defense had 19 sacks last year at NFL low. But Archer saw this. Kevin Kellen and Ron Holmes, 4 sacks today for the Bucs as they rolled over the Atlanta Falcons by the score of 48-10, the most points the Buccaneers have ever scored in a game. Their last 4 games last season, add up their offense, 48 points. So that gives you an indication of how they played, at least today.
All right, we're back. We got Chris Berman on that highlight. We're here in 1986 on ESPN. So you guys played the Falcons down there. I remember Scott Case. He played there for a while for the Falcons. And then Chandler ended up going to the Falcons and playing with them. And I think he took them to the Super Bowl in the late 90s. Just talk about your journey in the NFL. What did you learn? The difference, I guess, the speed of the game from college to pro.
Oh my goodness, the speed was just like every rep was at warp speed. The reaction time, you almost had to anticipate where the ball was going to go because the play would develop so quickly. One time I was on a linebacker stunt in one of the scrimmages, and it was just coming off the nose guard. What I just call strong right or strong left, go to the strong side, and the nose guard would go to the weak side. So I make that call, and I hit the hole running full speed. And next thing I know, I've got the running back in my arms. I never even saw him. I mean, he was just bam. We just hit. So as soon as I hit the hole, he was in my arms. And all of a sudden, I'm looking down on him. And the play, everybody goes nuts about it. I'm like, well, what happened? And I'm looking at the running back laying down there, saying good hit. And I'm like, okay. Just so fast. And the big guys, I mean, the linemen, amazing athletes. They ran like deers. I mean, everybody was quick as a cat. Running back was James Wilder, all pro many years. Was probably one of the greatest athletes I'd ever, was around. He was just amazing. His strength and his power, his agility. I mean, it was so just the athletes there at that level was amazing. Jeff Davis, all ACC player of the year at Clemson, was there. Just a neat Christian man too, man. I just enjoyed getting to know him there. So just a lot of great experiences. Every play, I mean, can mean the difference in making the team or not, all the time. So so the pressure was a lot, but that's where I was thankful that I made Christ my head coach, to handle that. And one of the great lessons learning from bringing it over to college, was, just being able to keep him my head coach and keep discernment, being looking at the man in the mirror, hey, am I giving it my all, giving my best, am I listening, and being coachable, the disciplines that I'm diligently practicing, am I listening to the direction I need to continue to practice those the right way? Because, it's not just practice makes perfect, but it's perfect practice makes perfect. Because you could have learned a bad habit and now you're living that out. And so that was huge, on and off the field, saying, hey, the disciplines I'm practicing, am I practicing right? And so just like in my footwork on the field, if I'm taking, extra steps, the pros, you are already out of the play. If you use extra steps, with linebacking, it was all about footwork of taking a read step, but not hopping around. You had to make sure you took a picture of what's happening, and you better be where you better be.
Yeah. That check step better be quick.
You better be there. I mean, they're already down the field 10 yards, left you behind, and you're going, hey, what happened? So you just really, the speed was amazing. I mean, just unbelievable. So
your brother said, who was the toughest running back to tackle?
Oh man, that's so many good ones. But Ernest Biner, I played against him in East Carolina and went on in the pros for many years. That man, I tell you, the harder I hit him, the more he seemed like he absorbed the energy, the more he'd play harder. And I remember one time I hit him and I tattooed him, man. I just planted the check, the face mask, head up, hitting him right. And took him to the ground and we're looking at each other, face mask to face mask. And he just yells out this big, just, like warrior cry. And he goes, my grandma can hit harder than that. And I said, man, your grandma must be pretty tough. Yeah. He said, that was good. But, I think he was one of the toughest I ever played against. He was just a stud. Ethan Horton's another one. He's good at Carolina. But I think he was probably unfortunately, I didn't get to play against Walter Payton. We were playing the Bears, but I didn't play in that game, and I was really wanting to play against Sweetness, man. Met him years later with my brother Terry at the Olympics, but that was something else.
So Chris Corder says efficient movement is so important. Who was the most gifted running back you ever faced, college or pro?
Oh man, that's a great question, Chris. My goodness. Let's see. I think James Wilder. James Wilder, Tampa Bay. I mean, every day I just saw it, man. He had a nickname, Black Tarzan. He was amazing.
Oh, man.
I mean, he could leap, he could jump, he could run. I mean, he'd just run you over, or he'd fake you out, and just had world-class speed at the same time. Just power and speed, just amazing. You look up his highlights. James Wilder is probably the most talented athletically talented player. I mean, just amazing. So, yeah.
So talk about life after football. What was Pat Teague doing right after the NFL?
Well, man, the first 6 months I was rooming with another former football player, and we were wondering, okay, what do we do? Where's my identity? Because, you know, there's so much wrapped up in it. And again, I just leaned on my faith, and, you know, it was just huge to be able to have, you know, just already living out some principles. Just I need to transfer them over to life. And then I discovered basically 7 winning plays for life at that time. I mean, you know, but I didn't put it all together till later. But you know, to just continue to do those. But yeah, I was first just like, what am I supposed to be doing for those, you know, coming out of the pros? But then out of that, just you know, that was starting Team Family with my beautiful wife and bride, Sheila, and you know, that was huge. When I was coming out of the pros, it was really hard because I had a long ride back from the Cleveland Browns, and I was thinking about, okay, I could go play for the Vikings. I got a coach there. I got some Canadian League connection. I can do that. So that 12 hours of driving back, you know, and it was raining too. So, you know, it's a very dramatic time. Like, God, what am I supposed to do? And why did I have to go up to the Browns, you know? And and the Lord spoke to my heart, great Psalm. He said, you know, it's Psalm 139. He said, my thoughts about you outnumber the sand on the beach. So don't you think I carefully thought this out? You know, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I got you. And I realized then it was time to let go of football and take the lessons I learned from it, take it on to the next chapter. Because one of the things I learned in college and pro was to be like a mighty lion that retreats for no reason, learn to play of determination. You got to keep pounding, as the Panthers called it. Keep pounding, keep going, never give up, just keep going, just pound. And so I was very driven into my mindset, and the way my paradigm of living was, man, you know, if the door's not open, I'm going to run through it. You know, it's just the way it is. And so now God was saying, look, I want you to learn another play, you know, discernment. It's time to know to when one season ends and one begins. And so that long trip home, but that really meant a lot. And then it was like, yeah, I could make it. And I had one of those epiphany moments, you know, like a flash of what life could be if I make a choice. Again, decision you make today can determine your destiny tomorrow. And one of those things was, man, if I could go to Minnesota, I could go to Canada, but I would lose the very reason I play. And here God was forgiving me, you know, in my priorities, you know, a wonderful woman that was waiting there to start a new life with me. And I also had, you know, some professional opportunities out, you know, with my degree. And so I just had a glimpse of sitting all alone in a big mansion. And then the scripture came to mind, what profits a man to gain the world, but lose his soul?
Lose his soul.
And I didn't want to lose my soul. I could just see that emptiness. Okay, yeah, I'd make it big and make a big contract and have all this money, but for what? You know, no purpose, no mission. And so it's so important to keep your purpose and mission. And so why you play the game, why you do what you do, it's not really, it's just a sport with an oblong shaped ball, you know. But in the end of the day, it can, you know, it can teach you a lot of life lessons. And that was another one at the moment to say, all right, I'm going to take this to other arenas and start to live life the next chapter. And so it wasn't easy, but I'm thankful I did, because my identity wasn't that I was a football player. My identity was I was a child of God that just so happened to play football, you know. And so like cutting my right arm off, but hey, I still had, you know, everything else going in, but that was huge.
So what does SMO stand for the people that's watching? They see your shirt.
Yeah, it's Sports Missions Outreach. And that's where it comes together, where, you know, as we just evangelism, discipleship, serving the community, and then partnering with others that want to serve the community and others to get people running a winning race for life through Christ, using basically 7 winning plays. Every coach has his bread and butter plays. You look at the Patriots, you know, it's run, play action, the Gronk down the seam, you know, and you're going to win Super Bowls if you have a good quarterback. And so same thing. God has his winning plays for life. And if I run those plays every day and I make a daily decision to do so, and that if I diligently practice those disciplines with God's divine direction and power and discernment, I'm going to have a great destiny. And destiny's moments, getting in your sweet spot, I mean, just like, even though on the field it was making the winning tackle or interception and, tackle for loss, things like that. And now those winning moments are a kind word to my wife, an encouraging word to a friend, just big plays, seeing somebody's life transformed by, see them come alive in Christ, just miracles around you left and right. Those are big plays. And just translating over to realize, hey, these plays work on and off the field. They're transcendent. So in our mission, we try to help the young man, young lady realize, hey, if I can start running these plays now, I'm going to be achieving my destiny and making those big plays on the field, in the classroom, in the community. If I just follow, the lead of the head coach and use discernment, and then when things hard, understand, life can get very hard. And if somebody tells you that it doesn't, they're trying to sell you something, because, life's tough. But on the other side of it is you turn a coal into a diamond. And that's the beauty of what God allows, because he loves you so much. He has this great plan that he unfolded with Christ going through a really hard thing on the cross to open and pave the way for us, to receive that. But it's up to us to receive it, enjoy it, get on his team and put on his equipment, because he's got equipment. He's got the full armor of God for you to go out there and run up against things, and there's so much going on today. People are losing their identity and realize, hey, God, he's Psalm 139. He's got your identity. He carefully thought you out. You're a masterpiece. He's recruiting you. He's recruiting you to put on his team, because only you can play that position, just like the position you're playing. I'm so thankful for your podcast. You make it with that. And so that's huge. That's what we do at Sports Missions Outreach, is help you run your race to win. We want you to be in it to win it on every front: spiritual, physical, emotional, relational, and just want you to win. And so we can help you do that. That's a parent trying to teach their son or daughter, leave them something to, because, if you tell them you do whatever you want to do, you're really saying, I have nothing to live for. I have nothing I've learned in my life. And there's things that you've learned to say, yes, this is wrong and this is right. There are absolutes. When you go on a football field, there's white lines. And if the whistle's going to blow if you run out of bounds. You can't say the referee doesn't like me. No, you stepped out of bounds. You were trying to stay in bounds, but you didn't. And so he's got to hold the rules. And that's kind of, God is the one, is the irrefutable absolute truth. And that he can help us through the guidelines, and he'll blow the whistle at times. And I need to say, yeah, you're right. You're the head coach. And let's get back on the field to play, and let's make some big plays. And you don't mean to jump off sides, right? I mean, you don't mean to. And so just learning how to deal with adversity, with determination, how to deal when things don't go your way, or betrayal, how to forgive and move forward on your mission. So just a lot of life lessons, being able to move forward, stay on mission, stay on task, and, overcome those things that come. It's not if adversity comes, it's when it comes. I'm not going to make a setup for success, or am I going to allow it to be a setback? No, we're not going to do that. So if I can help the next generation see, look through the good, the bad, the ugly, and be able to find their purpose and mission, that's what we're doing at Sports Missions Outreach.
Okay. So I got this thing called, favorite five. What's your favorite pregame meal?
Oh, my favorite pregame meal was ribeye steaks, man. Love that. Okay. With a big potato.
All right. Chris Cordes had a comment. He said, this interview is one of the best I've seen. So awesome having one of my Wolfpack brother friends speak about his journey, the sport and life.
I appreciate it, Chris. Now that's a steak meal right there. I'm gonna have to give him one of those. Come to Raleigh, brother. Steak meal for you.
Yes, sir. All right. What's your favorite album?
My favorite album. Oh man, I got different genres. I love all kinds of, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire growing up. Oh man, okay. That's huge. I love those guys. And then it was later on. It was another guy, Keith Green. This guy was Christian singer, and he just sang his journey, and it was helpful in my journey, as just walking through life. So now it's funny. I like this worship band out of Bethel Music. It's called Bethel Music, Jen Johnson.
Okay.
So those are kind of my deal. I just love
Favorite TV show.
My favorite TV show. Oh man. Now you gonna crack up at this one. It's the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, man. That was the last program that used to come on when I was young, and the TV go off. Remember the TV used to go off with the national anthem?
Andy bailing out Barty Fife all the time, man. It doesn't get old to me.
All right. A favorite movie?
Oh, all right, we have to go a couple of those. The Rocky series. Love the Rocky. Love Gladiator. And let's see. Lately, one of the ones I saw was The Finest Hour. This based on a true story. But then Indiana Jones. I love those. So
Okay.
I think those are probably the top ones.
All right. So let me see. What's your favorite car?
Man, oh man. Okay, that's another couple of topics. I love the old Corvette 63 Stingray. Love that. I love with the dual windows in the back. Love that. I think that's a cool one. I like the modern ones too now. Those are cool. I'm a Lexus fan. I love those. The RX 400A is probably for the most economical, best kind of car on that route. Love the Ferrari. I had a friend that had one of those, and he'd always want me to go exercise the horses when he'd go out of town. So I enjoyed that. It was the old Magnum PI version, the 1980 version.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that car. That was cool. So, and then my kick around car I like is Toyota Highlander, which I have right now. So I could go practical, or I love the sports.
What is your message to the youth?
My message is get a hold of God, man. He's your creator. Psalm 139, that he is recruiting you to play on his team. And he's provided it through the power of the cross that, through what Christ has done, that he loved us so much that Father gave his only son, that he would not for us to perish, because there's a way that seems right to man that will end in destruction if you're led by your appetites, your ego, or your need to be pleased and entertained. Put the phone down, pick the Bible up. Pick this Bible up, man. It's the game plan for life. And I can't emphasize more than anything. Psalm 139 says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're a masterpiece. There's no mistake that he made you a man or a woman. He doesn't second guess what he made you. You're fearfully and beautifully made, and that he's got a way through all the mess that's going on, and that he's your rock. And I can just say, man, through that all, that he'll show you the disciplines you need to practice diligently. He'll help you be determined when things are hard. And then he'll give you the grace of aid when you feel like you're cramping up and you're burned out in life. He will provide you with that Gatorade, man, that you can drink. Call it Grace of Aid. He gives you the grace to keep up the pace, fulfill the mission on your life, get you in the sweet spot, and that you make big moments, from as an athlete in your days, because those days will end. So your identity can't be all about making those touchdowns and, making the big tackles and interceptions or sacks, which are wonderful. I loved every second of that. Just drink that in, baby. Drink it all in. Seize every moment you can have. But then don't stop having moments, and enjoy the moments he gives you, because he's got a bunch of them. He came to save us, give us abundant life. But there's a thief. He's out to steal, kill, and destroy. And he uses those three things to try to use those against us. Our appetites or egos or our need to be pleased and entertained. But those are appetites that he wants to fulfill in his timing and his way. So if you go by his playbook, he shows you how to win the game. And so in the end, that you're running that winning race for life and celebrating with the very presence of God. I'm not talking religion. I'm talking relationship. That relationship can mean everything because it helps you through thick and thin, through the disappointments and betrayals, all those kind of things, because he's got this great plan. So as you're walking through life and things look like it's the end of the road, it's not. It's just a bend in the road. So don't take your life. Just realize, man, there's a turn for the better. If you turn to him, you turn to those appetites and addictions and all those kind of things, it's just going to be a darker hole. But when you choose him and choose life, man, all you got is expectation of a great future. Like woman coming down when you're a kid is Christmas morning, when you can't wait to open up a Christmas present. That's hope. That's hope. Okay. That's my you have hope for the future because there's one that holds it.
All right. Any shout outs before we head out?
What's that?
Any shout outs before we head out? Like, teachers, professors, family members, friends, fans, former teammates.
Well, my first shout out is to my sweetheart, man. She stood by me and just a great woman. And a shout out to my kids, shout out to my family, my brothers, my brother Terry. We played a lot of sports together all through life, growing up. My sister, she's a warrior, road warrior, man. I created a monster, man. When I started running, I'd have her to come with me, and she would. Now she outruns me. I can't keep up with her.
Okay.
So just a shout out to family and friends. My Smo Bros, like Stacey Betts was on here earlier. Just love those guys that surround me and help me run that race to win. So a shout out to you, man. I appreciate this show. Appreciate the opportunity to be on here.
All right. Thank you. Since you've been on the show, would you recommend anybody else to come on here?
Yeah, we can do that offline. I can give you a list of guys, man. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. No problem. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show and, sparing some time to talk with us. For everybody that's watching, we appreciate you tuning in. You have watched another edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. I'd like to thank my special guest, former All-American linebacker from North Carolina State University and former NFL Tampa Bay Buccaneer linebacker, Mr. Pat Teague. All right. If someone wanted to reach out to you and get in contact with you, where can they find you?
And they can find me at sportsmissionsoutreach.com or on Instagram, which is sports_missions_outreach.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, Deezer, Facebook, and Instagram. And just always remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. We'll see you next episode. And until then, peace and be safe. All right. Later.